You're watching the Eternal Tournament Series.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Season 1 ETS Invitational for 2018. We are watching Round 3. We have Pupicitus versus farodsbro. I am Gabe, also known as Calimdir, and here in the booth with me to break it all down is LocoPojo.
Yeah, looks like we have a pretty exciting matchup today. There's Argenport versus Skycraig Shenanigans. A lot of cool stuff going on. We're seeing this new Crown Watch Trader deck coming out. This one actually only has 2 Crown Watch Traders and 4 Tavrot Orc Brokers, 4 Impending Dooms. Just trying the solid mid-range style with lots of 4s and 5s and 3s and just trying to knock your opponent down with a bunch of big stuff. That's going to be a little bit slower and possibly in exactly the right way against farodsbro's Skycraig aggro, which is your Cinder Yeti, Shogun Scepter, Vadius Clan Father curve, where you are just running lots and lots of 1-drops and trying to be really, really super aggressive. This deck is even running 2 Grenadin drones just to increase the number of 1-drops from 12 to 14 and give you a really, really wide board that you can play around with.
Yeah, so Skycraig aggro only has so many permutations. There's like a set core that we see most of the decks have. But the sort of flex slots that we have here, this is farodsbro has elected to go for like the most aggressive possible build with the extra 2 Grenadin drones, in addition to Snow Crust Yeti and the other 1-drops, 4 Ornate Katana in addition to 4 Shogun Scepter, and then just 4 Mortar on top. So no Rock Slide, no Obliterate, no funny business, all face.
Yeah, I'm
That's
sure
what I
that
like.
Pock Metal will be coming in any day now, but at the moment we got a perfectly fine deck.
Yeah. And then on the other side, like you said, we got those 2 Crown Watch Traders, but not the Inquisitor's Blade. This is more of the straight Impending Doom Tavrod list we're used to seeing. But Crown Watch Trader just, people are catching on to how good that card is.
Yeah, no, it is crazy strong. It really resists one of the most common tournament removal cards, which is Vanquish, and it is very, very solid in terms of just being like a nasty hybrid unit that happens to be very, very aggressive. I think this card is generally quite a bit stronger than Impending Doom. I'm pleased to see it in the deck, even if it's only a 2 of 2 Impending Dooms 4.
So as players get underway here, we saw Pupicitus play a Crest of Vengeance, and then now we get farodsbro playing out this Oni Ronin. Who do you think is favored here?
I think in general, if you're playing the slightly slower deck, then you generally are favored over the super fast decks. These decks are designed to take advantage of slow control and occasionally slow mid-range, but Pupicitus is running, Argenport Instigators and Rip Knights Assassins. He's got Auric Interrogator. He's got that all-powerful Bloodletter. I think he's got a decent chance of taking this as long as he can stay ahead of it. This early hand with no 2-drops, that's going to be pretty tough to deal with, but he's got a chance.
Well, I think Skycraig is favored, but I think aggro is favored in every match, and I blame all my losses on variance. So who knows?
I'm glad to see someone bring it in. I think a lot of the decks have gotten really extremely greedy because there's been so little aggro. People have been really afraid of Hailstorm, and it's similar to Harsh Roll. It's one of those things where aggro decks don't actually need to be super afraid of Hailstorm. It just, it does win, but they're usually content to try and kill them before the person draws it.
I mean, farodsbro is definitely off to a pretty fast start here. Kind of unfortunate almost that this Cinder Yeti got hit by a Warcry, because now there's a Vanquish target for Pupicitus. Doesn't matter, there's already a Slay, but now it means that Slay can hit something else. Puppy, though, this Crown Watch Trader is so good on defense.
Yeah, I think he really wants to play this here just for efficiency's sake. It's really rough leaving farodsbro with so much stuff up, but the fact that the thing has endurance and can't be hit by any sort of like Cinder Yeti shenanigans or other ridiculous nonsense means that he's in pretty good shape here. farodsbro can only mortar 1 target, and a katana on something else won't happen until next turn. So the Crown Watch Trader is holding the board against farodsbro's current hand, although Pupicitus might not know that yet.
Yeah, so farodsbro can just hold up this mortar and kill Crown Watch Trader on Pupicitus' turn, but Puppy's got another one.
Yep. We see the Katana here. I think he's just going for sort of the most aggressive plan, trying to get a torch to kill the 4-3. But obviously the block with the 4-3 here is actually pretty good. We'll see if Pupicitus sees it. Like, it's certainly fine for him to take a little bit of overwhelm damage if it means not losing his Crown Watch Trader. But I don't know. It's going to be tough either way. Oh, he takes the full
huge.
6 to the face.
Yeah, so I think that was the best play from farodsbro because anything else is just just wasn't proactive at all, and
Yeah.
that attack at least gets some damage in or takes one of these blockers off the board, and then as farodsbro draws some more power, maybe they'll be able to play out multiple cards per turn.
Yeah, bluffing a full 6 damage to face is a huge deal for Skycrag here. Pupicitus doesn't have much. He's got Vanquish and Slay, but he can't play both, so he can only deal with one threat at a time. If he wants to play another Crown Watch Trader, he's going to be faced with a similar decision to last turn. So I'm not sure if he's going to be super willing to commit more stuff to the board until he's dealt with some of the stuff on Farod's side.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't have that much going on, but has more going on than farodsbro. Farodsbro sitting over there with 2 Seed of Fury, and then 2 sigils of either influence. So a little rough draw there. But I mean, several war cries on top, and there they are on that Champion of Fury. Not a bad draw by any means.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Pupicitus didn't attack with his Crown Watch Trader. It's got Endurance, so there's not really a lot of reason not to. It's got Quick Draw on the attack. Like, yeah, it seems like free damage there. So I'm wondering why he chose to stay back.
Might have just been a oversight.
Yeah, quite possibly. All right, so we'll consider him 5 damage down, and we'll see if that makes a difference in the overall scheme of the match. Mostly, Pupicitus just has to stabilize, so as long as he can keep ahead of aggro, he'll probably be fine. But if Farods gets too many opportunities to sneak damage in, it's going to be pretty rough. However, there's no attack here, and no attack means that you're just not getting what you want out of this.
So that was crazy. So farodsbro could have played both cards that turn, but I think they just really want to get they don't know about the second Crown Watch Trader, and they're thinking, okay, if I get rid of this Crown Watch Trader, nothing can stop this Champion of Fury. I'm not sure exactly how big it is because my screen
looks like a 6/4 to me.
Okay, yeah, because my view is very obscured.
It's got double war cries on it, so it's a 6/4. He's got the mortar set up, so he's looking pretty good there. And yeah, he can at least kill one Crown Watch Trader, which I assume is exactly what he's doing here. There seems to be a little bit of a delay as Pupicitus decides whether or not to commit the attack. But nope, there we go. We got the mortar to face, and farodsbro choosing not to block. That makes perfect sense here. Second Trader coming down and really messing up farodsbro's days.
For some reason, I thought mortar cost 3, but I was mistaken.
Be very good if it did.
That is why he did not. farodsbro elected not to play a champion because they wanted to play mortar, which makes sense.
Yeah, it's a really difficult card to be playing, but it does get rid of a lot of very difficult threats. So with farodsbro sitting on another Crown Watch Trader to block with, or with Pupicitus sitting on another Crown Watch Trader to block with, farodsbro is looking into a very, very tough situation. These 4 drops are sort of the difference between Pupicitus winning or losing. They're all very resistant to any sort of Skycrag burn. They tend to sit in the same way that a Sandstorm Titan would against the aggro decks, where they are just beefy and scary and fairly hard to deal with any sort of direct damage.
Yep. Now farodsbro is kind of stuck. Is able to play out Power Knight and upgrade it, and is able to attack here, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
This is still pretty good. Like, it's an 8 damage snuck through. I'm not sure how much farodsbro is running. We're going to see a Slay off of Argenport Instigator. Well, we probably won't even see the Argenport Instigator, but with the Slay, that's going to put him down a little bit. But now there's another big threat on the board that Pupicitus has to deal with that has Overwhelm. And there's still a 2/2 Charger. He's looking dangerously low on health. He's about a torch away from lethal.
Yeah, that attack with the Interrogator may have cost him the game, which was good play on farodsbro's part. Playing out the leaving up the mortar for fast speed to try and make Pupicitus think that they're a bit safer than they are. Mortaring end of turn and then playing out the charge unit.
Yep. So we see the 5 attack there. farodsbro is not that close to death, so Pupicitus' slow attacking is not really getting there. And now it's probably increase the strength of the Pyro Knight to be a 6/5, and then attack again. And that doesn't look great for Pupicitus. He's going to have to double block there, which means he's going to lose at least 1 unit out of the bargain.
Yeah, so farodsbro will need to draw Torch or Mortar, which there are, I believe, only 3 more copies of Mortar and then the full 4 Torches. But that's still enough cards.
Yeah, this attack seems right. He's got the 2/2 in there because he just needs to get that extra damage in, and he knows that there's got to be a double block from Pupicitus to prevent the damage from the Pyro Knight. So that's 2 in. farodsbro is now a torch away from lethal, and Pupicitus is hurting pretty badly. Argenport Instigator is not really a card that he wants to be playing, but he'll probably have to play it just to get some aggro down. And he's got that Slay, but it's a torch. Like, that's all that farodsbro needs. And in addition to the torches, farodsbro also has some charge units and some mortars. So there's at least 10 to 12 cards that farodsbro can draw that kill Pupicitus almost immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, with all the charge units, like you said. But Pupicitus is now in a much better position with the blockers. The Instigator, though, is pretty precarious.
Yeah, so we are looking at 7 damage in, and that permafrost is not the answer that farodsbro is looking for. Rip Knife Assassin plus Argenport Instigator, like, this is not quite everything he needs. Both players are 1 turn away from death. It's all into the top decks. No help for Pupicitus, but he's got the advantage, so all he needs is for his opponent not to draw a torch.
Yeah, Pupicitus just can play or not. I mean, I assume that you play the Impending Doom out to play around a potential Skycrag champion. It's got more health there on the end. But turns out, didn't matter. Torch right off the top for farodsbro, faces the place, and that
Never didn't have it.
The game. Never didn't have it.
Yeah, so Puppy may have lost that game by not attacking with that Crown Watch Trader. Yeah, in like turn 2 or 3, he was 5 points down and didn't get it back up. But yeah, like, that was a pretty rough game either way. Both players had a lot of different threats to deal with, and yeah, I was definitely favoring Argenport for this matchup, but with losing a game that he potentially could have won that was fairly close, I think it's going to be pretty hard for him to come back at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about who do you think the matchup gets better for post-board, and me just glancing over the list, it doesn't look like it changes too much. So being up a game is really critical.
Yeah, Puppy's got Auric, Runehammer, Annihilate, and Suffocate to bring in, all of which are pretty okay answers. Annihilate gets rid of mostly some monocolored units that don't have charge, which is not amazing. So Suffocate and Runehammer are the more likely targets, but you can still do quite a bit with those, and they do give you a little bit of leeway, so the sideboard's not going to change the board too much. On the other hand, I think Puppy was favored, so that's going to be fine for him. On farodsbro's side, he has Island's Intervention, which probably can come in. It certainly stops Slay, and it can kill... it can't really kill any flyers, but it can at least protect some of your Yetis for particular reasons. Yeah, it can kill Unseen Commando as well. We have Polymorph and Groundbreaker if you want to stop life gain from the Bloodletters. There's a couple of more options for farodsbro. I'm not sure what all is the best choices, but cutting in some counter spells just to make sure that he doesn't get anything slayed, or trying to go for like a Polymorph plan to get rid of the mid-range stuff. Either one works here.
Yeah, I don't mind Backlash. I don't mind Groundbreaker. I don't mind Island's Intervention. The problem is, what do you take out? Because all of your decks, your whole deck is so focused on doing one very specific thing. You don't have really much to trim. There's not a lot of flex cards in this particular build because farodsbro has gone for such an aggressive build. So there might not even be any changes.
Yeah, there's not that many targets. I think he might maybe roll the Snowcrest Yetis out just because he's got a big pile of 1-drops in that curve. He might want to slow it down a little bit, and if he does, he'll have a few more answers to the mid-range threats that are actually efficient. But really depends on how much damage he wants to sneak versus how much damage he wants to just like get in immediately. And if he's looking for just a super, super consistent curve, then he might not change the deck at all. Right.
We did see how well Pupicitus shut down the cards with their blockers, but so maybe the 1-drops do lose some value. Like, the only reason we farodsbro ended up winning that game was because of A, the missed damage, and B, how well that initial curve went, plus the direct damage from charge units and stuff.
Yep.
But had there not been as much direct damage, those 1-drops would have just sat there and done nothing.
Yeah, you might see the permafrost coming out from farodsbro just because the Crown Watch traders are such a big deal. Although there's only 2 of them in the deck, so it's a little hard to play around them.
I think permafrost is just so good.
Yeah,
One
it's
power
such
to
a
answer
solid
something,
lockdown for, especially a pending doom. It's crazy good there.
It's just so critical because you're trying to end the game early as players are getting into the match now. Just 1 power to interact with the board in an aggressive deck just makes a huge difference. When you can play a champion of Fury and permafrost on turn 3, it's just a huge difference.
Yep. All right. So in Puppy's hand, we have 2 Ripknife Assassins, but that's going to get tossed back. Looking for something gets into 3 power a little faster, something that has access to cards like Crown Watch Trader and Unseen Commando, both which are really crazy good cards here. And on farodsbro's side, like you have a hand with a decent amount of power, some Yetis, but he's going to toss that back as well. He's looking for some 1-drops.
And
Pyro Knight, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep, doesn't have the second, the critical second fire influence for that Skycrack champion, but that's okay. It's still a reasonable card.
Yeah, he might just play it cold, just to have something on the board this turn.
Yep.
I think that's really reasonable since he's got the second Skycrack as well. And then with another blue, he has 2 3/2 Yetis, and he's exhausted a blocker, which is not a bad deal.
Yeah, and not bad versus Pupicitus's slow hand here. Not going to play a card until turn 3.
Yeah, that card will be Crown Watch Commando, which is certainly a very scary card for aggro decks in some situations. farodsbro not having access to Torch or any sort of removal there means that he could actually end up in a little bit of trouble against that card.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this game is just going to be over because we're going to see this the Cinder Yeti come down. We're going to see a ton of damage come out, and then it's just going to be too late from Pupicitus' side, especially if farodsbro draws a power for this mortar. That's just going to be...
Yeah, I'm trying to see if he bloodletters here and doesn't attack, he can gain 5, block 3, and then still take 5 extra. So like there's still 10 damage on the field for farodsbro, and 10 damage plus a mortar is gonna be pretty lethal, I would say. Yeah,
but doesn't come out, which means that it's not quite lethal on the board. Don't think.
No, he'll be just a little bit short, but it's still very close. Island's intervention here kills the Unseen Commando, and that will probably be game.
Yeah, that'll be lethal next turn.
Yep, yeah. Pupicitus does not have any hope left. It's going to be that card out. Slay still comes in, but once that happens, like, yeah, we're down to just Rakano Outlaw. Another Unseen Commando isn't going to do it, so Puppy is down and out, and Farods takes it 2-0.
2-0. So that's what I said. Aggro's always favored. You know, you just got to draw all the cards you need when you need them, and your opponent won't play cards until turn 3 every time.
Yeah, and or like, horrid misplays in the first round too. So all the same, just a very, very solid Skycrack setup. Lots and lots of good aggressive cards. I like those Islands interventions there. That seemed like a pretty solid include against a very scary threat. I like that he sideboarded against threats that he didn't see in the first game and just knew that those were going to be the problem cards and made sure that he had the answers to them. So
yeah,
very good stuff.
Yeah, Islands intervention, pretty good there, like you said. As we're searching for a backup match, I just want to go over, we can go over the current 3-0s and 0-3s in a moment, but I wanted to talk about just something that Pupicitus did really well in the first game, and something that I think a lot of Eternal players don't know, which is when you are against aggressive decks and you have and you're trying to decide whether to play out your blocker or start removing their units, what line to take. And I think Pupicitus correctly identified what line to take and stuck with it. And the way you identify that is, what have you started doing and how many more of that thing do you have? Because if you have more blockers and you've already started playing blockers, you should continue playing blockers. Whereas if you've already started playing removal, you should continue playing removal, because otherwise you switch over and then all the dead removal cards in their hand become live, or all the units that they have been holding on to while they're removing your stuff or whatever become live. So you want to
committing
exhaust
one
that
way or
first
another can
resource.
certainly be strong. So we're looking at level 13 David versus Alicimo up next. We're going to be taking a look at both of their decks in just a second, but it looks like they are almost done. It's a 1-1 match, and they're already somewhat into it. We will hopefully be going to that in just a second, so going to give that a shot.
Yeah, and from what I can see, it looks pretty exciting. I'm excited by any Ion deck. I'm excited by any Time Primal Shadow deck. That's always fun for me. I love drawing cards. I love value, and those are the factions for it.
Ion is such a good design for Xenon. I'm very, very happy for it. And yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. I cannot get into level 13 David's hand cam, but I can see Alicimo's. So we do have Vara's favor for Alicimo. He's looking at the Ions. He's looking at, like five power worth of stuff pretty easy here. Shouldn't be too hard to set up whatever it is he wants to do. David's looking a little locked down, but he has a lot more power than Alicimo right now.
Yep. So I don't know what the score is. Oh, both. Okay, it's 1-1. And looks like, yeah, we're not. Oh, wow. Okay, so Alicimo is at 4 power.
Yeah.
And David is at 7. That is quite a difference.
Yeah, he wisdomed there as opposed to using Vara's favor, which wasn't a guarantee of power, but he found the crest, so he's actually looking into a better spot. So,
all right,
good stuff.
I do have a view here, and David has this permafrosted Vadius on the board, which is a little unfortunate. And there are some void-bound Valkyrie Enforcers, let me tell you.
Yeah, you never want those to be forever silenced. It can be quite an issue, but it's looking pretty close here. So at this point, Alicimo has a huge hand advantage. David is not looking at a lot of good threats, and Alicimo's finally starting to recover all of the power that he's been missing all of these turns. So with these draws and setups, I think that Alicimo's looking to be in very, very good shape.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just looking at the board saying, like, wondering how we got here. And Alicimo, I guess drawing such a low amount of power is probably how they stayed into this game, because they just had so much interaction.
I feel
and now they get to draw the power.
I feel like he wisdomed that turn and didn't play a power, but I could be wrong. We see a Champion of Furia there for a 4/2. So Banish kills that if needed. David's looking at like a lot of sort of aggro rush type stuff going on, but
Protect is pretty good here.
Yeah, he does get to protect, and once he protects, Alicimo doesn't have a second answer to the Skycrag champion. He's going to have to play like an Ion in front of it, or play a Thunderstrike Dragon and risk it getting permafrosted. There's not a lot of great options, and I don't think he's particularly happy about any of his choices here.
I think I'm okay with losing an Ion. I don't love these Scorpion Wasps. I don't know what I'm trying to pull up Alicimo's deck right now, but I don't love that versus any deck running Vadius and Champion of Fury post board. I don't know what else could have come out though.
Okay, so Alicimo gets to play Crest of Wisdom here. He'll have the Banish up for the 4/2 if he needs it. He's not looking at like any more damage to face off of Skycrag champion, but he does need to be sure to be able to deal with everything that's on board, and that's not going to be an easy feat. Oh, we do see Ion pop out here. This is a little bit of extra health gain, so like it's essentially a +2 life. I think it's reasonable to do that here, but it is a little bit scary if you're playing into like a torch or something. I kind of would have preferred the Banish in that situation. Oh, wow. Okay. Deep Forge plates are in level 13 David's deck, and that combined with the permafrost is...
That was the game.
Yeah, it went from a position of 0 advantage to a position of immediate death for Alicimo. tough stuff there. Whew.
Level 13 David is going to be, let me check the standings, but I think 3-0, and that's going to be 2-1 over Alicimo there with that Justice Primal Fire plate deck that has been going around.
Yeah, I understand why Alicimo was holding on to that banish now. He was expecting
Yep.
that Deep Forge plate, but he was hoping that it would come a turn later than it did. And unfortunately, it did not. That Vadius just cracking in against the Permafrost for a huge amount of damage. And
So-
yeah, no, crazy, crazy stuff.
So David is now 2-1 in the standings with that win, which I believe is going to put Alicimo down to 1-2. So our players, really quickly, at 3-0 are Tin Man, Kamado, and Kang Breath. Those players are 1 win away from securing their spot in day 2.
Yeah, pretty exciting stuff. So yeah, we should be seeing some pretty cool rounds from the rest of this. And oh, it looks like farodsbro is also 3-0 with that Skycrag deck. So he's also just 1 win away from making it in.
Yeah, really exciting, and I would not be surprised to see all 4 of those players make it in. They'll need to get 1 more win today, and they have plenty of time to do it.
Yeah, odds are in their favor, and we'll see what happens with that after the next round. So we're going to go to a short break, I believe, and then we will see you guys in that round.